Really? Ah, there we go.
Yeah, we are live. Yeah, we are live. Good afternoon from UK, and my name's Paul Bursey. Happy New Year, 2021, with my co-presenter.
And good evening and good afternoon, good evening to everybody coming to you from Hungary in Central Europe. For those that don't know where,
Which
Warren
is,
Connolly.
which time-wise is an hour difference, isn't it?
Correct.
You're
Yeah.
an hour ahead of us, whereas we're at least 5 hours ahead of the USA, if not 8 or 10, but depending on where you're watching this from.
10 is Hawaii or what? Is that Hawaii?
Yeah,
or
something like that. Yeah, I think it's. Is it 2 or 3 hours difference from
the West
California?
Coast?
I don't know. I can't remember.
Let's have
Anyway, let's get into it. We want to hit this hard and hit it and get away fast today. So we are not going longer than 30 minutes. Today's subject is very simple, but very succinct, and that is work hard, work smart. And there's a reason why I did that, because just very quickly, as a youngster, my parents taught me to work hard, okay, and really to graft, not and not take things easy, no slacking. It meant basically you got a job, and you got there on time, you left on time, and
You applied yourself.
And you always have a job. So if you don't like your job, you get another job before you go before you leave the other one. Very simple. It's funny. They didn't do it. It wasn't like an edict. They didn't. It's just the way things were. They didn't tell me that.
It was a value. It was just more like a moral understanding, a social moral understanding that you work hard, you sweat for your money, that kind of stuff, and you earn an honest pay.
Yeah. So, and I think I got paid about £4 a week when I started.
Oh wow!
It would have been Easter 1970.
That's not too bad. £4 in 1970.
It's about £4 a week. Well, whatever it was. When I got my wages on a Friday,
you blew it.
No, I didn't get a chance. My mother took it all. She took it all. But the good news was that she did it for a reason. And to be fair, I ended up with more than what I got.
Oh, okay.
So she just made sure I had enough for each day.
Oh, that's good. That's cool.
And I still managed to go out as well. I don't know how I could do that. Really can't.
It's funny that because when we were younger, we were a little bit more resourceful in that way, I think, for some reason.
Yeah.
But look, before we get started, I just want to touch on something quickly. So we at Success Cafe, Paul and I, we've decided we want to open up 6 slots for you folks over the course of this month. So during the course of January, we're going to be allowing six of you folks to come and work with Paul and I. And as you know, this podcast is about business and entrepreneurship. And between the two of us, we want to do this and encourage people basically to take a step forward, because pretty much there's two different types of people in this world. All right. There's either those folks that see an opportunity when it's presented to them, and then they actually do something about it. Or on the flip side, there's those folks that when an opportunity is presented to them, they sit back, watch the telly all night, drink beer, eat whatever, pizza, fries, that kind of stuff. And then they wonder why life has dealt them a rough hand and they complain about it at the end of the day. So my question to you, therefore, is which one are you? All right. On you go, Paul.
You would think that we don't plan this. We did plan this, and I forgot about that. So anyway, I enjoy it. I mean, look, we still get the same message over, but yeah. So I personally, I've never been unemployed.
Okay.
I retired from the police in December 2006, and after that time, I've been self-employed. All right, so I think 35. I think it's 35 years is the cut-off point for paying national insurance in this country. I think, which means you can get a pension, another pension when you get to here. It's when you're 66.
Okay. Okay.
So next month.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Next month.
yeah, I'm going to be a pensioner next month.
Classic.
I mean, that means does that mean you get a free bus pass or something? It does in London, but I don't think
Yeah.
where I live, just outside London. I don't think you get it.
Oh, really?
No, it's
Oh,
terrible.
wow. Wow.
I'll find out though. I will find.
Here in Hungary, throughout the country, if once you're over, I think it's over 60, I think it is, then you get free public transport travel. Same with school students. School students I think they get a reduced like half rate or free public transport as well.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah. So you got to present your card to show that you're a school student or a senior.
Very
Dave
good.
commented as Mr. Dave Ives, the more we earn, the poorer many are with their management skills. Hence, many are just broke at a higher level. And then an opportunity to align and work with two heart-centered souls who can assist to see higher and further from a perspective that can make a dramatic impact on your life. I trust he's talking about you and I don't know about.
Hopefully.
Hopefully he is, yeah. Thank you, Dave. Namaste, sir.
Yeah. So, okay. So the theory is that you've got to work. Okay. That's the work hard bit.
Mm-hmm.
But working hard, as we know, isn't enough. So, what in your how you would describe it? What does it mean to work smarter rather than harder?
Aha. For me, working smarter, this is my personal story, is that it's about finding that balance where you never feel like you're overstretched, overwhelmed, and where you feel like you're in the grind. So you got to figure out what is it that, like for me, it was about figuring out what I could do in my life to make my life manageable in that sense, that I'm still working, I'm still being productive, I'm still performing, I'm still producing and that, but at the same time, I'm never feeling overwhelmed, overstressed, like I'm part of the grind and I'm no longer enjoying what I'm doing. That for me is about working smarter. So it's still being able to do the output and potentially, sweat and things like that if need be, but without ever having that feeling of because that's when you're working hard and you don't want that.
Yeah, I think you can do a physical job which is working hard.
That's
Okay.
yeah,
and we know that. But my theory was when I put work hard in the title was not to think necessarily like a manual worker.
No.
It's to know that you've got to be there for a certain amount of time.
Well, it's like you said with your mother. Your mom took your money away from you when you first got employed, but your mother had a plan for you in advance.
Yeah.
But you were too young to think that way. So if your mother hadn't, you would have ended up working hard, not working smart. So you could, as you've touched on, you could be a laborer, you could be, a skilled technician or something like that, where you're working hard with your hands and your body, physically, mentally. But if all you're doing is you're waiting for Friday for the money to get in the bank, and you go to the bank and you go straight from the bank to the pub and blow half your check for that week, you're not working smart, you're working hard.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I used to see people do this in the UK a lot, and South Africa.
Yeah. Yeah. It's for me, working smarter is not wasting time. Mm-hmm. So it's very easy to get wrapped up in things like social media, and you can do that every day and not get anywhere. So the idea is to cut out the time wasting and aim more towards time chunking, as Tony
Robbins
says, or time slots. I wrote it down actually. What is it? I just can't read my writing. I wrote 2 words. That was all, and I can't read my writing.
He's going to be a pensioner next month, folks. So
Yeah,
remember.
I know. So that's why that's why I'm working on my memory. I turned up. See today.
You
So,
turned up.
but working smarter to me is also working with things that are simple. Right? You've got to do simple things because, as you say, the more complicated it becomes, okay, the more complicated it becomes, it's very easy to be distracted.
Yeah.
So I think you made a comment when we were talking over the weekend about working threes. Do you remember you said that?
Yes, I did.
And,
Yeah,
and
the
I
power
really,
of three.
yeah, and I get that because if you give people too much to think about, they're more liable not to want to work.
Yeah.
So, although if you think in terms of usually doing three things or whatever, is that you've got to be effective and you've got to be efficient, and it's not about quantity; it's about quality. There has to be a certain amount of quantity, obviously, with anything, but it's the quality of
Of
the
that
way you
quantity.
do things and the way you speak to people.
Mhm.
And how you speak to people. I mean, that's another big part of it as well. But so, to me, working smarter is not engaging in things that is pointless. It doesn't take your business any further.
Well, look, there's one aspect about our industry where you have the opportunity to work really smarter than harder, and that's when you understand people better. You take the time to learn, understand what people mean when they say certain things, who they are, how they respond to certain conversations or approaches in business and things like this. By doing that, by taking the time to understand that, you're able to actually work smarter with people than harder.
Yeah,
Because otherwise it's going to be a hard slog if you don't understand people. But however, in the same breath, the only way you're really going to learn that is by doing it. You know,
yeah,
understanding first what the principles are, and then going out and practicing it and taking action. So as you say, it's not about less volume. You still got to do whatever it is that you're doing, but you just got to try to focus on doing it in a way that doesn't waste your time. And in the same breath as what you're saying, if you're talking to people about shooting the breeze, it's not getting you anywhere from a business perspective. Also,
yeah,
on the
yeah,
flip side of that coin is relationships. It's imperative to build relationships with people,
yeah.
especially when you want to do business with people. It's imperative to do that.
So
So
yeah, that's very important in relation to what we're talking about, because if you think about it logically, you want to be building multiple relationships at one time. That doesn't say you can speak to more than one. You can speak to more than one person at a time if you're on Zoom or something similar. But generally speaking, if you're building a relationship with someone, a lot of that's going to be done one to one, and you want to do that continually, because out of those amount of people, you don't know who you're going to be working with. And that's what I mean by working smarter. You
or
should
or
expect.
even when, sorry, Paul, but
That's
even when.
right. You're right. Yeah, absolutely. So you've got to be speaking to 25, 50, 100 people, building relationships, because you don't know when the timing is right. Yeah.
Mhm.
And it could be working and building a relationship, could be just saying, how's things going? How many times could you do that a day? Just ask someone, how are things? How's the family?
I do that often, and I do that just on social media in
Yeah, that's
conversation
what
with
I'm
people.
saying. So
Yeah.
it's very, very easy to do that, and you can talk to multiple people. As long as you're being genuine, I think that's the most important thing. You've got to be
Oh,
honest,
of
ethical,
course.
do things the right way, and that to me is working smarter. If you're superficial and you're out to get their money and things like that, it's just not over the long term. It's not going to work.
And a good way to keep yourself in check with that is how does it feel when you are communicating with that individual? Does
Yeah,
it feel like this is you, or does it feel like you're trying to be someone else? You know, and if you're trying to be somebody else, an individual on the other side will pick it up. They'll pick it up in either the words that you're writing or the words that you're saying.
Yeah.
And they'll pick it up. And very often people will pick it up. So, but if you're trying to communicate to somebody in a legitimately authentic manner, then people will feel that, and then they will know where you're coming from. They'll know that, as Dave said, heart-centered, and service-driven.
Yeah, just beat me to it. That's exactly what I was going to say. So yeah, that's right though, and that's what we are. Because if you're not doing it the right way, it will come back and bite you. There is no doubt about that. Whatsoever. There is only. I'm not saying there's only one way to do something, but there is when you're talking about posture, mindset. You've got to be on the ball, and you've got to be doing things the right way.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, it's I think it's very, very important. So working smarter. What other things can you think of where you can work smarter rather than just harder?
Leveraging time, leveraging effort, leveraging time of other people, and at the same time, I feel that the more, if you are working with other people, the more you put into coaching and mentoring, you end up working smarter in the long run.
Mm-hmm.
It may take time and effort in the beginning with things like coaching and mentoring, but it doesn't have to necessarily, but it may do. But if you do that and you leverage people of their time and their effort and their knowledge and their expertise, their skill sets, and not be afraid of empowering other people to do better for themselves.
Mm-hmm.
I used to see this in when I worked for companies in the past. People were terrified, especially certain individuals at certain management levels were terrified of empowering their people, their teams, because they were terrified, literally terrified, that they would lose their positions to somebody junior than them, because that person would end up learning more and becoming better. So they never taught them, they never coached them, they never mentored them.
Yeah.
And this, unfortunately, is very prevalent in many circles, many professional circles around the world. So this is another great way to work smarter as opposed to harder.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I suppose working smarter. You said about time leverage. I mean, if you've got 100 people to see your business, you could put them all on the same webinar.
Yeah.
And then have a process where you're following up with them. But that is working smarter.
Mm-hmm.
And on the other thing, if they can't make a live one, you can have a recorded webinar for your business, and basically they can see that if they can't make it. So that is all about working smarter, because that just means you haven't got to be there all the time.
Yeah, and you're leveraging again. You're just leveraging technology. You're leveraging technology and knowledge.
Yeah.
And
that's really, really important. So
100%.
Yeah. So can you think of any other ways that you can work smarter?
Plan in advance, and be 100% accountable to your plan, even if it doesn't happen, doesn't work out. But plan in advance, have a strategy, create something that when you wake up in the morning, okay, boom, 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 boom. And I'm at fault with this. I'm pretty bad when it comes to planning for business.
You flow.
Yeah, I do flow a lot. Yeah. I'm working on changing it.
Yeah, I think most people do flow, but there are some times when you just want to flow. I get that, but that's after you've got done what you want to need to get done.
Yeah.
Flow afterwards.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, because I did that. I wrote a plan out for today, what I wanted to do up until now to this call, and I've done it all.
Okay.
Now, when I finish the call, okay, then I go free range.
Free range.
Yeah, and as I say, in the flow. It's a different type of. Yes, it's a different type of flow.
You hang tenning, yeah.
But I have each day. I have one priority only.
Okay.
And the reason being I only have one priority because I want successful days. I found personally, if I had a long list like a to-do list, I didn't get it done. I just didn't get it done. I don't know why. So I had to personally, for me to become smarter. For me, was have the one priority.
Mm-hmm.
I had probably 3 or 4 other priorities that have to wait.
Not so priorities.
Not so important. Important, but not so important. And then I would go. Then afterwards, I would go and get them done. Sometimes I do it in reverse because I know when I'm going to be working on my one priority.
Yeah.
And then I go free range, as I call it.
Okay.
A bit like the chickens, the eggs. Free range. And you can go and have fun and work at the same time. So then I might decide, what do I fancy doing now? I know I'm going to send 10 messages on Facebook. And I'll go and do that. What can I do now? Right, I'm going to go and create a couple of new images. Things like that.
What you're highlighting there, Paul, is a very important thing because I believe, like you make that one priority for your day, okay, and that's planned. Then your free flow stuff, it can be things that you need to get done, but you don't really feel like in the need to plan and all like. However, when you're free flowing, it's so important to ask yourself the question, what is going to serve my business now? What can I do that will serve my business now? And it may not be what you planned. It may be something else that completely different that comes to mind. But that's an empowering, free flowing space to be in. Because otherwise, if you just free flow like I think what many people will guess is like just hang tenning. You're gonna end up doing nothing, and you're not going to be productive for the whole day. You're gonna think you're busy, but you're not being productive. But if you just ask yourself that question, how can I serve my business now? And wait for an answer to come into your head, and then just do whatever it is that comes to your head.
I should make a little proviso here that when I talk about free range, these are all good things I'm doing.
Yeah.
Okay, they're not time wasting things. So, I don't want to give the wrong impression here. It's.
I'm just emphasizing for folks so that they understand that there's a methodology behind it.
Yeah.
Not just to go free flow and say, hey, I'm going to just chill for the day or do whatever I want to do when I feel like doing it. No, it's free flowing is good, but if you're doing it with a purpose and an intention. So
you're right. Purpose and intention, because we spoke about the gray zone before, and that's very important. And I'll keep mentioning it. And that is when you are out for dinner with your other half, and you can't stop thinking about business. Okay, or you could
what a waste of time.
I know. Just say, I know.
Yeah.
What you should be doing is if you're out, with a significant other or children or whatever, is you should have the concentration should be on them and nothing else.
Precisely.
100%. It's sometimes it's quite difficult to do, but you have to be disciplined and do that. And the other thing is, obviously, when you're working in your business, don't think about a significant other. So
as I'm reading in The Greatest Salesman right now, I'm reading Scroll 4 this month, and in it says, now The Greatest Salesman by Og Mandino is an amazing book. It really is, because there's a method to reading the book. You don't just read it from first page to the last. You read certain pages for a whole month.
Yeah, that's right.
And you do it 3 times a day. Mm-hmm. And in Scroll 4, he talks that in the story, it goes like, I will not marry the two together, being the marketplace and my home. Mm-hmm. I'll keep them separate. There's no space and time in the marketplace for my family, and there's no space and time in my family, in my home environment for the marketplace. That way, I'm able to stay married to both. And it's so true, because too often today we mix and blend the two together, so it becomes gray, and there's no disparity between your work environment and your home environment, and it's very different, especially when you're working from home. It's not easy.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's really not easy, but it's so important that people are aware of that and cognizant of whether they are doing this or not. And so I put my phone up for those that are not watching, but I put my phone up when you mentioned about being present when you're with your family, or if you're doing something else other than work, be 100% present. If you're in work, be 100% present. This keeps people away from being present.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and that and Facebook and things like that. And if you're not using them properly, but
if you're in a restaurant and you don't have your phone on the table, you don't.
oh,
You're not going to be in.
That's one of my pet hates. Yeah, there are a few times when you would want it on the table. Say you had a relation that was ill in hospital and you needed to have it there. That's a different thing altogether. But generally speaking, what you find is everyone has their mobile phone when you go out for dinner. Let's say there's 6 people there. They've all got mobile phones, and they're all looking at them.
Yeah.
And so I would have a standing rule saying no mobile phones at dinner.
Well, there's many parties that had.
Oh, we lost you.
Okay,
we lost you slightly.
Oh, okay. There are parties, not nowadays, but prior to 2019 March, 2020 March, I should say. People would have home parties, and there would be a standing rule in many parties where you got to put your mobile phone and your car keys into a box or a bag or something like that.
Yeah.
So if you're drunk, you can't drive home, and nobody's on the phone being distracted from the party. Everybody's enjoying themselves. That's why. And I think that's just it's a simple thing, but it becomes so addictive to have your mobile phone around with you all the time. It really does. I have a friend in Dubai. He went off smartphone back to, what do you call it? The old phones, the old style phones without.
Yeah, I know. The old Nokia.
Yeah, like that. Yeah, because he became too anxious with his phone.
Yeah. Yeah, I have one. I have a smartphone. I'm not a great lover of phones, so I like laptops.
Okay.
So, but anyway, I think we've said enough. Anything else you want to say about working smarter or working harder?
Well, if you would like to learn how to work smarter, then you need to come and it's imperative that you speak to Paul and I, because I'm going to say it again. This month, we are looking for 6 individuals to come and work with us. And we're going to literally help you take you from point A to wherever that may be, wherever point Z may be, down the line, and whatever that's going to look like. But we would like to work with 6 people that would like to learn what we talk about, the things that we use. We're not super business people. We're not supremely rich or wealthy, or we are wealthy in our own ways. But at the same time, we have a lot of understanding and morals and values and habits that Paul and I practice individually, in our own way. And we are looking for people to share that with, 6 individuals to share our skills and our knowledge and our pearls of wisdom with.
Hunger and passion.
So that's only valid for this month. Okay.
Yeah. So
but moving beyond this month as well. Sorry, but
yeah. Sorry.
Yeah.
So it'd be for the next 90 days, and and then we'll review it. But yeah, great, fantastic. I think we've said enough on this subject. Work smarter as well as working hard. So have a fantastic rest of the week and a brilliant 2021. And we'll speak soon.
Arrivederci. Good night, everybody.
See you later. Bye.
Have a beautiful week.